We are live. We are live. Welcome back to, what's the day today? It's Wednesday. Welcome back to Wednesday's episode of For Evan's Sake Daily. My name is Ni Odate Evans.
And I'm Nana Evans. And it's the first of the month.
First of the month. And all the children are at home. Doom. That's right. The teachers are on strike. Not just the teachers, there's like loads of people on strike. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about that. There's also another news story, a really sad story about a young girl that has been killed by a dog. And we are going to be talking about Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, who have announced that they will be back with another Bad Boys.
Yes.
I think this is going to be number 4.
Yes.
And I think we're going to be talking about...
We add in Prince Andrew and the latest developments on what the Queen's wishes were for his life going forward.
There you go. Cool. So let's get into this. So today is the 1st of February. The teachers are on strike. And when I say the teachers, I mean most of the teachers in England and Wales, which is over 100,000. Yeah. And the strike has been run by the National Education Union. Now, the Education Secretary, Gillian Keegan, insists that the majority of schools will be open in some form, but the NEU says 85% will be either fully or partially closed. When I read that, I just laughed because I thought, this is very indicative of like the Trump era of politics, where you just say stuff for bants. Because if you're being told like 85% are on strike, but then you're still out here saying the majority of schools will be open, and it's like, but open in what shape or form, with what teachers? It's ridiculous. Anyway, so teachers are joining civil servants, train and bus drivers, and university lecturers in what is expected to be the biggest day of industrial action in a decade. We did say yesterday that today's a day that you do absolutely nothing, go nowhere, do nothing. Teachers in Scotland are taking part in a third week of rolling strikes with Clackmannshire, and Aberdeen affected today. The Education Secretary goes on to say that it's not realistic to look at inflation-busting pay rises for teachers, but Labour Deputy Leader Angela Rayner accuses the government of deliberately stoking the conflict. Inflation-busting pay rises.
It's not actually... And
but
why not?
Every pay rise needs to be above inflation.
Exactly.
Like, that's just common sense.
But then,
because then we're struggling.
It's using the words inflation busting. So people think that you're asking for more than what is necessary. But they're on below necessary as it is. So to just pay them fairly is all they're asking for.
It's basic economics, because if you're being paid 20 grand a year, but inflation is rising, that 20 grand is worth less.
Yes.
So naturally, you need to be at a base in line with inflation, but really you need to be above inflation.
And they've been
behind it for...
You've been underpaying them. So now you're just putting people into poverty who are supposed to be raising our future. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And to just be treating them with such contempt, but they're doing a job and you want them to be of service when we go into pandemics or moments of crisis, is absolutely ridiculous. But that is the corruption of the Conservative Party.
What's interesting is and I'm going to call it an attack on two sections of society who, over the last 3 years, obviously since the pandemic, have probably been two of the sectors of society that have, really bore the brunt of the pandemic. So obviously the nurses in the hospitals and our teachers in the schools. And these are now the same people who are actually having to fight just to get
a decent pay rise.
Yeah. And then you get people like Gillian Keegan trying to spin it that they want some inflation-busting pay rise. Which is interesting, again, because it's like, again, when you think about MPs' pay, I'm sure, the whole thing is MPs have never had to strike for pay.
No. Well,
funny that.
They have their own committee that says when they need to get a pay rise.
Funny that.
And it gets done.
Funny that.
It's wholeheartedly.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you got to do.
Love and respect to everybody on strike today, doing what you have to do. And for me, I don't even see it as a price to pay. Like, to be honest with you, it was quite nice having the children at home in the house. Not everybody's children is the same, but they're kind of there. They get on with it. They know what they need to do. good luck to the teachers, them. I hope some sector at some point in the near future is able to get what it is that they're after in terms of just being paid a fair and decent wage.
Yeah, definitely. And for parents at home, anybody watching, what we found with the boys today, Bite Size, BBC Bite Size has been very helpful. And there's quite a few quizzes on there as well, just to get into a revision for whatever year that they're in. It's also, if you are at home with them, you can go over and see what maybe they're missing in their studies, just going through the test, because it's actually really helpful.
And then also for any parents that perhaps your children is in SATs years, what I did was, because I'm a bit of a Chat GPT geek at the moment, is I went on to Chat GPT and asked for SAT revision questions. And so there's questions there that you can throw out to them, and it gives you the answers as well. And so there's so many ways to keep them occupied and busy, and it's a day. And rather looking at it from the perspective of you have to spend the day at home with your children, you get to spend the day at home with your children, because we actually, the way that the family is set up, generally we don't actually get to spend a lot of time with our children. So like, make the most of the day that you have. And also don't feel pressured as well. Like, in some correspondence I saw like people talking about our children missing out on a days of it, and it's mate,
it's not crazy. And even within those 6 hours, absolute teaching time is usually about 3 hours. It's really not that deep. It isn't that deep to the grand scheme of life. Just think about what you were learning at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Really, it's not. It's not crazy.
A day here and there
in the politics of it.
A day here and there off of school is not going to damage your child's education. It's not going to damage their future. I think for that to happen, you would have to have your finger completely off the ball. And it happened long before this one day of strike came along. So,
yeah, let's not hype it.
Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Yeah, no. I don't know where so the next strike after this, so there's actually quite a few strikes happening. There's about 5 more strikes happening, but they are smaller strikes affecting different regions of the country. But the next time we're going to get a big one like this from the teachers is on the 15th and the 16th of March. So that's actually going to be a 2-day strike. Okay. And so again, if you know, look ahead, find out the dates and prepare. And
they did tell us February the 1st. So anybody who does have to tell, like employees, do it. Just do it now. Don't wait, because they're putting the dates out there.
Yeah, the dates are out there.
So just be in full support.
So just be in support, be prepared, and make sure that when you are home with your children, you got things to do to keep you busy.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Our next story is a really sad one. It's one that's just kind of recently come out. I think literally last night.
A comment has popped in, so it may be for the
okay. So hello, Monica. Thank you for watching. Monica had no idea that teachers were striking. Good for them. I think, number one, that shows the stage of life that Monica is in.
Yes.
But yeah, no, absolutely good for them. I think they absolutely deserve it. And they deserve our support. Yes. They really do deserve our support. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Keep on. So this story, a 4-year-old girl, she's been named as Alice Stones, was mauled to death by a dog in the garden of a property in Milton Keynes. Armed police arrived on the scene after receiving reports of the attack, and the dog was shot dead by a police marksman. Neighbours reported hearing heartbreaking screams and crying, with some initially mistaking it for the commotion of a loud television. The family of the girl has been supported by specially trained officers, and a vigil has been arranged at a local church. Now, the police investigation is ongoing. No arrests have been made, and there's no reason to believe that there's any danger to the public.
I don't get it. So the dog isn't the family dog?
We don't know. So we don't. And this is pure speculation, so please. But from the reports that I've read, my inclination is leaning towards it's a family dog, because there was no other information included to suggest that this dog came in from somewhere, wasn't supposed to be where it was. And I've had this conversation with so many people of just the nature of keeping pets. And I'm not saying don't keep pets or anything like that, but you just always have to be aware that it's an animal. There's going to be some, no matter how well you know your pet, there's going to be some level of unpredictability. But more than anything, it's just such, because even though I've always professed to not being an animal person, if this dog is the family pet, I know that the level of heart, obviously it's not going to match. It's not going to match losing your child, but the whole situation of just, losing your child and then the dog being shot. And then also, I guess, a level of trust in a way would have been broken because, you trusted the dog and the dog has kind of acted out in a particular way. So there's so many things there, and it really is heartbreaking. But I just can't, reiterate the importance of just always, even if you know your dog, just keeping an eye. But yeah, thoughts and prayers and love goes out to that family, because I can't even imagine what it is that they're going through. Yeah. Moving on to international news. Mm-hmm. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, they are now everybody's uncle. Like they're of that vintage.
Kinda, yeah.
So Will Smith and Martin Lawrence have confirmed Bad Boys 4 is officially in the works. The film will see the return of Mike Lowry and Marcus Bennett, with Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah directing and Chris Bremner writing the script. Will Smith is serving as producer and Martin Lawrence as executive producer. That's interesting.
That's
the third film in the franchise, Bad Boys for Life, was released in 2020. Earned $426 million at the global office, and I never even bothered to watch it.
No, but it's great that he's back. I really like Will getting back in the fray and just being like, that one incident isn't going to shape my career, and keep on going. So it was nice to see them together announcing this. It's good.
Did you watch his slavery one that he released? Yeah. I feel like this would have been a better first thing to come back with.
But the slavery film had been in the works
for it, yeah.
So that was a labor of love, but I have no intentions of watching a slavery film. So
yeah, I think this is the other thing. When I did see that, I've not even watched 12. Did you watch 12
I don't
Years
actually think they're for us.
They're not.
My latest theory is slavery movies are not for us. I don't think black people actually even need to be like, we shouldn't be watching it or whatever. They're not put on for us.
Did you watch 12 Years a Slave?
No.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
I literally, 12 Years a Slave is the last slave movie that I started to watch. So I remember like watching the beginning part of it and was just like, no.
No, it's not for us.
No.
The movies are there to show a part of history that lots of white people don't get exposed to. Mm-hmm. So I don't need to. We live it. We know what racism is. We know what oppression is. Maybe they need to see it in grotesque forms for it to actually sink in as to what their lineage had done. So I don't really think it's for us. So I don't take it personally that people make them. I don't need to watch it.
Yeah. So either way, Bad Boys is coming back. Early pre-production obviously they're in early pre-production now, so there's no news on when it's come out or anything. But looking forward to it.
That's a good one.
Bringing it back to the UK. So Prince Andrew's back in the news.
Prince Andrew is back in the news because it seems like the Queen had set out a plan for his life going forward, how he could get more involved.
He's such a mother's boy.
Yes. And what she had said was that it would be good for him to do low-key charity work and to dedicate his life to charitable services that would probably ingratiate him back into the public. So far, he hasn't done that, but this was the plans for him. Do you think it would have worked?
No.
No?
No, I think that is the classic example, and God bless all the mothers, innit? But I think that's a classic example of a mother's love and just being jaded and not realising that your son is a cruff. Do you know what I mean? And I think the idea that he could, or at least the public would soon forget that this man was rolling around with a man like Epstein and probably engaging in some unthinkable activities with underage people. And we're just supposed to forget that because he went somewhere and did a photo. And this is the whole thing.
I actually think we would forget.
Do you know what?
I think we absolutely would forget.
It's like I just didn't watch. Well, I didn't watch it, but it's like I'm a Celebrity didn't just happen.
Yes.
Because during the whole of I'm a Celebrity, and I even said it, the fact that Charlene White got more bad press and left before Matt Hancock
Yes.
told me everything I needed to know.
I'm telling you, and the public opinion that Andrew is favoured more than Harry. There was a survey done. It was like Harry has more contempt than Andrew. So if Andrew would keep his mouth shut, do charity work, nobody talks about him, and he lives out his life like that,
He really
he would
could
be fine.
He is probably, actually, we said this before, he's probably really happy every time Harry is in the news.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, yes, Harry, take the heat off me, Harry. Yeah. Keep on, Harry.
Because Harry's out of the news cycle now, and Andrew's back in the news cycle. So he's probably hoping that Harry does something, or Meghan does something. Maybe she releases her book. They're probably hoping something takes place.
Yeah.
But I think it probably would have worked. But again, it's been years, and he hasn't done any notable charity work, so he didn't take on that advice.
I just want him to go away. Like, just go away.
He doesn't want to go away.
Just go away.
He wants to be back.
And again, it's the unmitigated gall of the privilege that you have a right to, be in the public psyche, and just continue to do what you do, and there's no acknowledgement of the real nastiness that you've probably been involved in.
I think it's
and
horrible.
The privilege that you hold
in the press when they really keep on saying that he was the Queen's favourite son. Mm-hmm. Like, just the sentiment of favourites, and that being okay, and it's like, that is really horrible. It's just terrible.
But favourites are they're a thing.
Well,
it's not like people don't have favourites.
I think it's disgusting to have them.
Yeah.
And for it to be like public and out there. I think it's just a horrible sentiment.
But I agree with you, but it's like, it's something that we've grown up with. Like, it's the whole thing of parents having favourites. Like, so I can see why they would report on it like that. I think that if you're a parent and you do have a favourite, that's something that you have to keep to yourself. Like, you probably have to work extra hard to show that you're not favoritizing a child. Because I don't think it's ever something that should ever be public, and I don't think it's something that people should know. But, hey, it's the royal family.
Okay, parenting conundrum.
Right. So our parenting conundrum for today is a lady. She's 27, and she's a very keen cook. She's not a professional chef, but she has taken a bunch of cooking classes and loves making elaborate meals for her friends and family. Now, about 2 years ago, her brother married a lady, and the lady that he married has a daughter from a previous relationship. She's 9 years old. Now, this daughter has several health conditions, including celiac and a severe dairy allergy that requires her to carry an EpiPen. So it's serious things. Now, last weekend, she hosted a dinner at her house for her parents' wedding anniversary. So she's made an elaborate, fancy 5-course dinner. In addition to her parents, she invited 4 close family friends, which obviously included her brother, his wife, and the stepdaughter. Now, it's because of the stepdaughter's allergies, she found a restaurant in town that, is like gluten-free and da-da-da-da and whatnot have you. And she ordered the daughter's food from that restaurant. Yeah. And she goes on to say that she has ADHD. Right. And what she didn't want to do is like, where her allergies are so severe, she didn't even want to like pick up the wrong spoon and whatnot have you. She didn't want to risk any kind of cross-contamination or anything like that. So she's gone and got this from the thing. So anyway, fast forward to the dinner. They're all sitting down. She dishes everybody's food, dishes the little girl's food, and the mum sees that her food is different. Yeah. So she whispers into the husband's ear. Husband then says to sister, "Can I have a word?" They go into the kitchen, and he's like, "You're bang out of order, like, for alienating her like this. You've done it before." And she has admitted earlier on, like, she's done special meals for people. Like, so a friend was on a keto diet and whatnot have you, this, that, and the other. It's like, you've done it before. I don't see why you couldn't have done it for, I think the child's name is Becca. I don't see why you couldn't have done it for Becca. Like, you're just alienating her for no reason, this, that, and the other. And then they left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so obviously that put a bit of a dampener on the rest of the evening. And so she's like, I did my best at the time, but in hindsight, I wonder if I should have tried harder to make Becca feel included, since she's a relatively new addition to the family, and perhaps you should have made her a meal. So is she the...
That just sounds crazy. And I would, if I was her, I would keep my relations with them to a bare minimum. I would be like, they don't like me.
I think that the level of irresponsibleness on the part of the parents, because you rocked up, because clearly no conversation has been had. I would say for the girl, maybe she could have said a heads up, just to let you know, I've got Becca's food from here because I know that they cater for people with dietary requirements like hers. Like, you don't have to, but maybe you could have said that, yeah? But what this says to me is, at no point was a conversation had about this young girl's dietary requirements. And I feel like as the parents, it's on you, no matter where you're going, yeah, just to even double check. Just double checking.
This is her brother's girlfriend.
Brother's wife.
There's just too many red flags.
What's nah?
There's
What's
just
nah?
too many red flags.
What are the red flags?
The manipulation from his wife to activate the brother to be like, you're going to dress down your sister. That's one thing. I would remove myself from the fray, because there are loads of ways that people just exert their power into a family dynamic. And a classic way is to be a victim. Like, something has been done to me. Realistically, if he's thinking with a logical brain, you would actually be like, she's done a good thing because she doesn't want your child to have an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
How she's gone about it, you could be like, oh, she doesn't like this. But just because she's always going to eat differently to everybody else. So why would that be a thing? And why do you want her to exert extra effort in making her something? That's a power thing. You're trying to control a situation. I'd be like, I don't want to be a part of it. I'd have a proper chat with my brother over it. Like, this is what I'm thinking, but you're not going to dress me down for doing good things to support your family. You're in my house. I'm feeding your child. There would be the fact that you guys left. Oh, yeah. We'll see you at Christmas.
I mean, for me, so yeah, the brother being activated to go and dress down his sister, but then you're there for your parents' wedding anniversary, and this is the hill that you decided that you're gonna go and die on.
Just feeling awkward. Like,
you really left your parents' wedding anniversary, not because your daughter didn't have any food.
That would be, you'd be justified.
You'd be justified. Yeah. You'd be justified. Even, like, no, yeah, she had food. She went out of her way, put money in her pocket
to get your child a decent meal that is not going to make her sick. And or
even kill her. The child rolls with an EpiPen.
Your reaction to that is, you should have cooked the meal that you're going to give her.
You know what that is?
We're leaving. That to me is, you're all very stupid.
That's shame.
Yeah, you need to come at my house.
That's shame. Like, because really the mum, I'm going to put it on the mum. The mum feels bad. Number one, that the child has these allergies in the first place. But she also feels bad in hindsight that because visually I can imagine when you see it and you sit down, and maybe this is a situation that your daughters would have been in before, and you just kind of like, oh, my baby's in that situation again, and you feel bad, yeah, because maybe there wasn't even a heads up to the child. Maybe because obviously they said it in there where they had been, the child was excited to come and eat, because, as I said, although she's not a professional chef, she's the cook in the family. Yeah. So the child was excited to come and eat her auntie's food.
Yeah.
And then obviously got the restaurant food.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine that all of that, the mum has felt triggered by this. But really, that's on you. Because, again, I'm like, if I know that my child has these allergies and you're inviting us to come and eat, I'm having the convo with you. Like, what are you cooking? Oh, okay, Becca can't eat that. Oh, you're going to go and, all right, cool, no worries. I'll give her a heads up. I'll let her know. Or something.
I think of all the parents that we know with kids that have proper allergies, more often than not, they walk with food for them.
Yeah.
Or if they're not doing that, there is generally a conversation.
Yeah. That's your job. So that's your responsibility as the parent.
Didn't, and she has gone ahead and sought out a restaurant that does the food so that your child will be safe, and you react to that. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. So I'll allow you to have your outburst, and we're going to talk about it. And I want sincere apologies before we're seeing each other again. No. It's just, I'm not going to be your punching bag.
No,
life is way too short for that. That you couldn't even just manage your emotions to have the dinner because it weren't for you. Like, so, just to spend the day with your parents, whatever, it's just a meal, and then address it the next day. You have no self-control.
Also, as the parents, the way I'm gunning my son, like the gunning that you're getting, nah. And it's stupid as well because it's like, you don't have any sense in your head.
In between the two of you.
Because surely the dad is like, nah, if I go and die on this cross, yeah, everybody's seen what happened. Because I didn't get up and say, oh, why hasn't Becca got any food? Like, my wife literally pushed my button and I reacted.
But some people know to not do that where it leads them in their house. To not jump to what their wife is requesting. They know what that leads to in their house. And that's
okay.
That's where I would be like, I'm removing myself from this situation. Because there are too many couple dynamics. It can be the husband or the wife, but they push the other one's button into army mode because they know if you don't jump, what that leads to in your house. And I'll just remove myself because then you can become the tool. You can become the emotional punching bag or activate on this one.
Yeah.
Start on that one.
Because I can't imagine. Like, even if I was feeling the same as my wife and agreed.
Yeah, that was out.
Yeah. So even if I was of that same thinking, I'm still not getting up mid-dinner.
Making a whole song and dance of stupidness.
No, we can talk about it afterwards, innit? We can talk about it. Like, it can wait. It's not that deep. The child is eating.
No one's got a brain cell between them. Oh, Lord.
Crazy.
Yeah, I would be very disappointed if I was also the parents, if any of our sons displayed that nonsensical stuff.
No. So, to the lady, you are not the...
No.
Your brother and his wife absolutely are.
They need to go to therapy.
They need to go to therapy. Continue cooking. Do not worry about them.
Yeah.
Amen.
I think you're right. It probably is shame because shame does activate people into doing some crazy things. But that's just not your issue. They need to work on that. If she has some guilt over her child having allergies, dude, kids are born with worse.
Absolutely.
Like, thank your lucky stars that you even have a human that you're raising and do the best that you can. It's nobody's business. Like, manage your emotions or get a therapist to help you.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
And on that note, that concludes Wednesday's episode of For Heaven's Sake Daily.
There we go. Yep.
We are midweek.
We've got 7 more episodes to go before our 30 episode challenge is over.
So next Friday will be our last For Heaven's Sake Daily. So please, before then, if you haven't, tell your friends to tell your friends. We are here Monday to Friday at 12 p.m. And we love it when, like Monica did today, you engage with us on the chat. So please feel free to engage with us on the chat, spread the word. And we would love to see so many more of you join us on these lives before we finish next Friday.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Thank you,
cool.
guys.
Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.